A lot of talk at the moment, isn't there, around MLS and this possible tournament down in Florida. Jeff Carlisle has written about it over on the website. Be sure to check that out. Well, Ali's still with us. We welcome Herculez Gomez to the show as well. Herc, how likely is it that we're going to have kind of this special tournament down in Orlando?
It's very much up in the air, very much premature if you ask me. I mean, there are teams right now that are only training about 3 times a week. So you're asking players to go from not training at all to training by themselves 3 times a week to all of a sudden a competitive environment and have a full season, or I should say mini season, this tournament style. In Orlando, there are major concerns with player fitness, but also safety. I don't think any of the players want to go into an environment where they don't feel 100% safe. Testing will be an issue. I've been informed that the players will be tested twice a week, but those are only the players and the staff that is around the players when we talk about coaches, when we talk about equipment managers, et cetera, et cetera. But if you talk about the hotel staff and that staff, they're not going to be tested. They're going to be measures as far as taking their temperature and whatnot, but they will go to their families and come back and work in said hotel where the players are staying. The players will not be around their families. It's a major issue for some of these players who, quite frankly, have pregnant wives back in their local markets. They've got families, they've got kids, and they're going to be leaving their families for about 8, if not plus more weeks during a pandemic. There is a raise for concern with a lot of Major League Soccer players.
Ali, how would you feel about it if you were still playing?
Torn. Completely and absolutely torn, because as a player and as a competitor, you want to be on the field. And if the way for MLS to get back out on the field is in a tournament, then so be it. That's what we need to do. That's my job. That's what I prepared my whole life to do. And so therefore, that's where I'm going to be. That's my responsibility as a player. But you cannot separate yourself as a player from the real world. And for a lot of these players, their real world includes a family, includes loved ones, includes people that need you. And you would be walking away from those loved ones in a time in which they need you the most. At their most vulnerable, you'll be walking away to pursue your responsibilities and your dreams of continuing to play soccer. And so that individual dream, that individual goal that you have set for yourself for years upon years upon years, and then it comes to fruition because this is what you do at the professional level, how important is it to you? Because are you willing to then just kind of walk away and turn your back on your responsibility as a father, as a husband, as a boyfriend, as a son, all the things that we value so much more than we should, in terms of comparing it to a game, and this is what soccer is a game. And so how do you reconcile those two things? 2 completely different worlds that collide, and now you're supposed to make a decision, and an educated decision at that. It's a difficult, and impossible position to put the players in.
What's the alternative, Herc? How would you sort it out? How would you fix it?
All the players have to be on board. Could you imagine a scenario where the top players, the most high-profile players, a player like Carlos Vela, for example, who's got a pregnant wife and has a toddler at home, is going to leave his wife during a pandemic, is saying, you know what, I don't want to do it. I don't care if I don't play or if you don't pay me, I won't do it. So now you have the high-profile players staying at home and the rest of the players are going to go play in this tournament because maybe Major League Soccer has certain commitments with certain season underway and certain other players want to get it. It's a no-win situation, really. I don't think, it's quite frankly impossible to get 100% of the players on board with this. Ali said players are torn. I don't know what I would do, what I could recommend to finish this out. Certainly it's at a comfort and case-by-case scenario for each player. But personally, I don't see how you can do it where 100% of the players are on board.
So what do we do? How do we finish the season, Herc?
Like that, case by case. If a player doesn't want to go, he shouldn't be forced to going. But there will be salary restrictions, and by that I mean if you don't go and you don't play, you don't get paid.
But do you think this
may be?
So what I'm trying to get to is, should there still be in your opinion, should there be a tournament, or should they wait? States we're seeing open, California and New York, of course, are talking about sports returning next month. Should they wait in that process? Like, what would you do if you were Don Garber right now?
If it's safe to do so, you do it. The Bundesliga has provided that layout or that blueprint, if you will. I was told the Players Union for Major League Soccer consulted an epidemiologist and assured them that it was 100% safe, the plan, everything, just as safe as you being in your local market. So if that's the case, I go forth and I try to fulfill those obligations. But I don't force anybody to do it.
Where do you do it? How do you do it?
Well, right now they're talking about Orlando. They're talking about Wide World of Sports. They're talking about all 26 teams in that market coming to and being in this biodome or in this bubble, if you will, to control as much as they can of that environment, leaving their families. And if a player gets infected or tests positive, quarantine said player. And here's the tricky part. If that player comes up positive, well, chances are his teammates might also as well. So now you have to quarantine a whole team. How does that work? There are many different factors and variables that we just don't know. But I think it's worth a try. Statistically, everything we've been told, I think it's in the best interest of the league to try to finish the season out.
Ali, how would you handle it if you were the commissioner?
Well, the first thing that I would have to sort out if I'm Don Garber is the financial stipulations and the agreement with the players' union to say, okay, what are going to be the pay cuts that you're going to take? What are the salary cuts that you're going to take? And if I come to an agreement on that, then we can start talking about, okay, we have sorted out a plan to move forward, and whether that tournament is the best idea or not, we shall see. But until they figure out what the players and the players union are willing to give in and are willing to kind of meet Major League Soccer in the middle and say, all right, this is how we work together, and this is how we work forward, holding hands together. If that agreement comes forward, then you, as a player, then you have to take a step back and you have to say, all right, what do I feel comfortable doing, and what can I take from the Bundesliga, or can I take from the fact that we live in a different world now than we did 3 months ago? What am I willing to give up? And if that means a couple of months away from your family, to be part of the team and to carry out your job, are you willing to take that step? Let's say that you say, yes, that's what I want to do. Look, the tournament is not perfect. It's not ideal. I'm not sure what it accomplishes. I'm not sure what the significance of these games will be, and what it would perhaps, in terms of the outcome of this tournament, what is it going to do for the teams or the season? But what it does is that it gives you some sort of approach, some sort of getting us closer to normalcy, to putting the players and the teams out on the field sooner. And if that's the case, I think MLS benefits from it, and eventually the players benefit from it. Now, what players union, MLS teams, I think what they have to measure against each other is the benefit of playing this tournament, is this far superior than the negatives of leaving our families behind? Or in somehow kind of cheapening the competition and kind of think that this season has some sort of significance because of this tournament gets us going in the right direction. Those are the decisions that you have to make. But I would like to see MLS back out on the field. In whatever way, shape, or form, I think it's important for MLS to get back out on the field. And if that's playing this tournament, then I'm all for it.
Meanwhile, Herc, Liga MX look like they're going the other way. Sources suggesting that the season is about to be voided.
Yeah, it's looking like that. There are enough teams who are on board. I believe that during yesterday's meeting, they asked all the teams, and 7 of those teams said they were in favor of continuing this current format or this current Clausura season. There were a few that were against, and some that just wanted more, I guess, statistics, more opinion from health officials as far as what can happen, what can go on. Much like here in the United States or elsewhere, depending on your market, there are a certain number of infections or statistics that could support or go against your argument. So they're trying to take everything into account with certain health officials, but I don't see how it can. I mean, this season's supposed to be over in July, and now the next season is mid-July, late July. We're already approaching that. They still have, I believe, 7 weeks of play to go, plus playoffs. Without going into next season, I seriously don't see where. And this is less of Liga MX and more of a health concern with what is the Mexican or the country of Mexico and the amount of tests that they can have and they can support providing player safety, etc., etc. What we do know is these teams are seeing it more as a viable option right now, just to pull the plug and saying we've lost enough money, we've played these players and our staff enough for this season that we're not going to be able to finish out. Let's just cut our losses.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.